Hello, everybody. This is
Hello.
Sister Lives. And we are doing a rewatch of season 2, episode 3 of Sister Wives. We are also going to talk the season finale of Seeking Sister Wife at the end. So stick around if you would like to hear some talk about that. What's up? We've got Sarah from Reality Squad.
Hello.
We also
Yay.
have James from My Take on Reality in the house.
Hello.
Speaking of James, let's get this amazing intro going that James is responsible for. Let's just do it.
Don't you think like that? I will love you endlessly. If you only believe me, don't you think like that? I will love you endlessly. If you only believe in me, yeah.
Let's get it.
So good.
Oh, thank you
Let's
for doing
get
that,
it.
James.
No worries. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, so as I said, this is Sister Wives season 2, episode 3. For those who haven't rewatched in a while, this is the one where Janelle and Cody go on a camping trip for Janelle's birthday. Also, the one where they discuss their finances.
This is another good episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
These early episodes were pretty juicy.
Yeah.
And speaking of finances, I really feel also another thing about this episode is it's the one where Janelle's identity as the cheap one like really starts to take shape.
You know what though? Like I felt for her. And then I have a video. I couldn't get my shit together today to get it out, but it'll come out tomorrow. I really feel like without Christine and Janelle, Cody and Robin are like headed straight for bankruptcy. Because Janelle
Right.
was the one that was cognizant of money, like that things cost money. And Christine was like couponing their way into making it from month to month. She was actively looking at ways to save money. These two don't know the value of a dollar for sure. And I'm not saying that I do, but they certainly do not.
No, I think
Right.
we can. I mean, I've never looked at your finances, Sarah, but I am sure you're better than Robin Brown and Cody.
The bar's low, but yeah.
Well, you
Happy
know what?
birthday, Peggy.
Ooh,
What
yeah.
really hit me was when they were sitting there saying like, "Oh, Cody comes down," and they were talking about buying a sleeping bag, and Cody's like, "Yeah, we just go ahead and get a new sleeping bag." It occurred to me after rewatching it this last time that he wasn't necessarily declaring to Janelle that he was going to get a new sleeping bag. He was asking her permission because I think she was the one making the money. Not only was she in charge of the money, but I think she was the chief breadwinner. I've kind of held that position for a long time. But I think she was the one who was like pulling down the X's and O's. And Cody was sitting there saying, like, we're just going to go ahead and buy another one. No, we're not, because I'm not buying another one.
I don't think Cody
okay.
even knows the password to their online bank account. I don't know if he's been entrusted with such those like debit cards you can get for your teenagers, like baby's first debit card. That's the level of fiscal responsibility that Cody has attained in
Yeah.
Janelle's eyes.
I mean, if that's true. That means that by the end, Janelle was just saying yes every time Cody and Robin asked permission.
Right. Well, I think that
Yeah.
Cody took position. I think by the end, Cody had taken position in possession of the Cody Brown LLC, Entertainment LLC, as the leader or whatever. And he started making those purchases and withdrawals because without that backstop, that break that Janelle put in, like, oh, we're going to just buy this. No, we're not. We don't need that. It's one night. We'll be fine sleeping on blankets. Without that, you have two spenders who are saying, like, oh, we just get a new one. Okay, we'll get a new one. And that was it. And I think that's what actually led them to it. and anybody who's ever dealt with credit cards or whatever, the big purchases you can handle and you expect. What runs your credit card balance up is the little twos and fews that you buy. The McDonald's stops, the little pizza stops, Taco Bell
Don't
one
you
night.
attack my McDonald's, James. I will not have that.
There will be no fast food attached here. You
I
fast food
have to have my
fascists.
morning Diet Coke, and McDonald's makes the best Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Well,
James, don't it's the avocado toast us.
but that's what runs your credit. I'm telling you, that's what runs your credit up. The little Walmart stops.
You're so right,
You know.
though, James.
You know, and
My
I think
mom
that's
has
what
tried to drill it into my head that you don't carry a balance. Use your credit card to work for you, like get your miles or your points or whatever kind of rewards that you have, but don't carry a balance. And I still carry a little bit of that.
I was gonna say, how does that work when you're married to somebody? Like my wife, like loves playing the credit card games. Like, oh, we'll use our points for this, and then make sure you use this credit card for that. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, there's ways you can do your credit cards because there's certain credit cards you can apply depending on what you use. Like if you do a lot of traveling, you can get the ones that have the high point ratio for travel. So you do the purchases and you get a rewards in that sense. You can do the cash back rewards. If you pay it off every month, you're basically getting paid to use your own money. So I mean, 3% here. That's what I'm saying. Like the 3%. That makes a difference. So if you have like $100 and you spend that $100, you pay it off, they'll give you like $3 back
Mhm.
for you spending $100. So, I mean, that's how it works. But anybody who's ever say, like I was a change guy. So when I go out and break a bill, I would take the change and put it in a container. And I had these huge containers in my house. I took a container down one time. I had like $500-600, just in change. So
Yeah.
it's not, like I said, it's the twos and fews. That's why them damn supermarkets be asking you to upcharge your dollars. Do you want to round it off so that we can make a charitable donation? They get paid hand over fist. They killing them. They killing the game.
I'm like such a bee. I'm always like, no. I like aggressively, like, don't ask me again.
Right. If I want to give to them, I'll give to them. Thank you very much. And I'll take the tax. You know what I mean? That's a tax write-off for them too. So.
Okay, Janelle says the finances has been a constant source of friction in her marriage with Cody. Cody's always wanting to buy new stuff.
And they've been married 17 years at this point. 17 years of dealing with this dodo head. Like he does not get money.
Yeah, you know what? It makes perfect sense though, because you're talking to a guy who has 18 kids, a motorcycle, and a Corvette or a convertible two-seat. So it makes sense that I mean, if she would have said that Cody is really good with money, I would have been very surprised. Because he's horrible. Apparently, he's horrible with money. He's not very practical.
Well, speaking of, shout out to the chat. Peggy says, I wonder how hard it is, or is it for Cody to pay bills now? Yeah, who's handling things at the today's Brown House where it's just Cody and Robin, the people who are bad with money?
I wonder
They be late in taxes.
Yeah, if on top of a nanny, now they're gonna have to hire like an accountant or
Are they
someone
smart
to
enough to do that?
hold their hand through tax season.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It was reported that they were always late paying their taxes, like their property taxes. Like they're always like 2 steps off of default.
I saw that
So-
too.
I will tell you guys something. So California has, I think it's like Prop 13, which has a cap on property tax. Like it can only go up based off of when you purchase your home. And this is to prevent like senior citizens from getting like priced out of their homes. But my mortgage goes up like $300 a year because of property tax in Florida. It's bananas. My parents are like laughing at me from Los Angeles, their $1 million shack that they live in.
Wait, where do you live? You live in Florida?
Yeah, I
in
live
Florida?
in like the Orlando area.
What? I thought for sure you were talking about Cali. Like, because I know Cali's high. Their taxes high as hell. But
Oh yeah,
Florida, I
no,
didn't realize
there's
Florida
so
was high.
many like negative things about California and their finances, but they do have Prop 13. So when you lock in that 30-year fixed rate mortgage, you can like bet that that is what you're going to pay as long as you don't like take out a second mortgage or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Speaking of having to take out a second mortgage, Janelle says that when Robin came in, I'm paraphrasing. Janelle is basically saying, I was like, great. So we were already having to stretch things thin, and now we have to squeeze these like 2 1/3 salaries even further.
You know, based off of Hunter's reaction to like Robin announcing her pregnancy, you know, Janelle was bitching about Robin and 3 more mouths to feed all the time, right?
Right.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely.
Right. Well, there is a point too when you're the one who makes there's two groups: the ones who make the money and the ones who spend the money. And when Janelle is the one who has to worry about the bills getting paid, so ironically, I can see a world where Janelle will be the one who is like super tight with the money and afraid to spend on anything. So her kids will most likely be the ones to go without because she has to she has to tap off the whole flow of everything, the money flow that's coming down. And even when Cody, she said, yeah, if I didn't talk to Maddie, she would get me to get her a new pair of shoes every time. And Cody's like, yeah, I buy the shoes all the time. She comes to me. Like, no, you don't. No, you don't. But I
Oh,
think that
really?
was him.
You didn't believe that when he said that? You think he's just saying that on the show?
Well, I believe that as much as I believe that when he said that Christine, he pays for Christine and Robin, and Janelle might kick in a little grocery money. I believe that is like equal. Like I don't believe either one. Like
Yeah.
I think Janelle's paying for everything. Cody's kicking in and supplementing Janelle, but you can't be on a TV show one with Cody's fragile image of masculinity being taken care of, kind of Seeking Sister Wives Nick Davis style, being taken care of by his wives, and then on top of that, he's bringing extra women in for his wife to take care of. So he had to. I think he had to play the benevolent. Oh, I'm paying for everything, and I'm taking care of all these women, and I'm the one that's leading the family financially. But I don't think he was. I just don't.
But see, I actually, for some reason, I just like believed his word when he said like, "Oh, when the kids ask me for sneakers, I go and get it." Because I just think he's that irresponsible, and I think he wants to be the good guy, and so that's how I took it. But you don't think he's
Yeah.
going to the sneaker store and getting Maddie or whoever their new shoes?
No, because if he was doing that, I think Janelle would notice. Janelle's one of them parents that if the kids start showing up with new stuff, where the hell did you get those sneakers from? We don't have no money for sneakers.
Yeah,
I'm
take
walking
them back
around
to
with my
the store
shoes
right
with
now.
tape on them. Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
She told
Janelle
us
is
those
so
on
the mom that if Cody bought something that she didn't approve, she would probably return it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't
And
believe it
take that
either,
shit
Sarah?
back.
No.
Okay. Well, Christine, who years later will be absolutely torn to shreds by Robin and Cody for not being nice enough to Robin, actually defends Robin in this episode. Christine says, quote, Robin has actually taken on some responsibilities and has helped. Do you believe this? What responsibilities did Robin take over?
This is such
She
a
was what?
perfect example of Christine fearing behind the scenes, like the wrath of behind the scenes if she didn't present a certain way, because there's no way was Robin help. And in my opinion, that is like, okay, so Robin comes in, isn't contributing money, so she can't take away from like Janelle's contribution to the family. And I know Mary worked too, but Janelle was like breadwinner worker wife. That was like her niche. Christine was mom wife. Robin coming in to say, hey, I'm going to be stay at home mom wife as well, was really taking away from literally all the hard work that Christine was doing.
Right, right. Well, because I think that the opening that Robin exploited at that time was because I've been doing that Sunday night read along on Becoming Sister Wives,
Yeah.
and in Christine's sorority section, she talks about how she suffered after Truly was born. She suffered postpartum depression, and with that, like saying that she felt crippled and she couldn't, take care of the kids properly, and she needed that time to, deal with herself. And they kind of hinted at it. Janelle hinted, Christine needs a little time to herself. But I think that, one, I think that she was suffering alone. I think that they dismissed a lot of her pain and a lot of her the issues she was facing. And Robin took advantage of it because, like she said during the course of the little confessionals, I just want Janelle to find value in what I'm doing. I wanted to see that I'm actually contributing because she wasn't doing jack shit. Like she had said, I'm going to go get a job. Like she told, I'm looking for a job. Where you looking for a job at? You got to leave your house to go find a job. They ain't going to just come knock at your door. She looking under her bed and a pillow like the tooth fairy. The job fair gonna come and drop a job off at her house. For a job application. I mean,
yeah, the narrative from Robin here is basically feel sorry for me because I have no money and am actually wasting resources this family needed for the kids and wives it already had. And that makes me look bad. So it began the dry tears.
Right. But I agree with something Sarah said, like the sentiment. Like, I don't think that she did it because she was trying to fit into the family or help the family. I think she did it because of the advantage that it provided her at the time. Because after she was settled in the family, you don't hear anything about Robin taking somebody's kids and babysitting some children. The only time we really hear about it is actually this episode. It's actually this episode. I'm getting the kids and I'm helping the children. I'm doing homework. That's the only time she talks about it. Every other time than that, she's like, stay out of my refrigerator. You don't pay bills here. So.
Yeah.
Robin says, it's like I want to sit here and somehow be worthwhile enough that the disruption to their lives is worth it to them. She really goes hard in this episode. James, you were talking about her, this is being the only episode where she kind of watches the kids or shows her supposed things that she's saying. I really thought she couldn't even fake liking watching the kids. Like there's a scene where I think it's Isabel, sorry, is like jumping on her leg, and she really looked annoyed to me.
Yes.
Right. And I think that's exactly where I'm looking at what Sarah had said. It said, yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, I'm not disagreeing with the fact that she didn't want to watch the kids. I don't think she was excited about it at all, of coming over to the house. And this is part of the pressure that I think Christine was under, because she doesn't want to watch the kids. And here Christine is just being a mom of one. Christine, you need to get up off your ass and take care of your babies because I'm busy and I got things to do. So you need to get back to doing, and that pushes her to go back into where she was. Because even in season 18, Christine talks about how in order for her to fit into the family, she had to create the perfect wife situation where she always had to be happy and put the happy face on in order for the family to flow together. So, I mean, again, this is kind of one of those, and I don't want to just jump off and be a Robin basher, but Robin was kind of rough. Like, Robin was a rough cat to watch.
Wait, what do you mean rough?
Like, she was rough in the sense that she, like, a lot of the stuff that she does is selfish by nature, so she just comes off looking poorly. Like, I want to say that she gave a lot to the family, but I can see the calculation in every move that she made where she got some kind of benefit. It wasn't for the benefit necessarily where I'm sitting. I don't see a benefit strictly for the family, and she's putting herself out and sacrificing. I see the sacrifices and the stretches that she made benefiting her in the long run or moving her further along in the favor of Cody. So this is something like this would be something she could say. You know, when I came into the family, I was all about the family, and I really wanted to work with the family, and they rejected me. Because remember, Cody stood there when he got the knife in the kidneys, and he talked about how Robin had sacrificed so much and gave so much for the rest of the wives, and they all rejected her, and she just kept trying to give. And that's this is that part where she's talking to him, and I think that there's a lot of pillow talk going on where she's sitting there saying, I be doing all this stuff, and they don't never appreciate me. I know, Robin, they don't know you like I know you. I know, Rob. You need to say something, Cody. I don't want to say nothing. No, don't tell them you heard it from me, and just kind of poison in that ear. So again, maybe I don't want to bash her too bad, but yeah, it's
Sarah,
hard not to because it's hard to not see it.
Did you have something you wanted to add to that?
Oh, no. I
Okay.
agree.
Okay, so are you two campers?
No.
My brother is.
Your
You
brother's
know.
a camper?
Yeah, my brother. He'll go out with his buddies and the folks and stuff, and like people from his neighborhood, and they'll all go out and camp and like they'll take the kids with them and all that. This is crazy. So God bless them.
Well, Janelle and Cody, they're doing Janelle's birthday dinner at Arches National Park, and they struggle with the tent. I feel like you always struggle with the tent when you're camping. Like nobody.
It looks like I've been camping, so I have not personally set up a tent, but I have witnessed one be set up. They're complicated. It's not. It's like Lincoln logs and like
Yeah.
it's like a puzzle piece.
I would almost rather just build a log cabin from scratch than
Right?
put up a tent.
You ever watch those YouTube videos of those people in the woods? They go out there with like a stick and a shovel. And they build like underground mansions.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
survivalists and stuff. Like
Yeah,
one time,
I'll be day in a week. Yeah,
I really love Survivor, and I at one point because the whole thing about Survivor is knowing how to make fire. And so I'm like, there's got to be, why wouldn't anybody look up how to make because in this modern era of Survivor, they take away your flint if you lose a challenge. So it's like, if you know this going on to the show, why wouldn't you practice how to make fire without flint? Anyway,
right.
not that would ever. I would never go regular camping, let alone Survivor camping. I would go regular camping, but like to appease my husband.
So you're not going to be on the next season of Naked and Afraid where they send out
Nobody wants to see that.
like 2 sticks and
Who wants to do that? Oof. No.
It's a whole show. Somebody put me. I never watched the episode of it, but somebody used to. Yeah, man, you need to watch that Naked and Afraid.
And you get to bring, or at least at the time, you get to bring like a, I don't know, like a luxury item or like a convenience item. And some guy brought a roll of like painter's tape or like blue tape. And he actually made the gal he was with like a bathing suit.
Oh.
It was like really nice of him so that like she could,
It's like Naked and Afraid's version of the duct tape prom dress.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course,
like those were
like a bikini, but
Did he make something for himself? Did he make like the banana hammock for himself? Or
God.
I think so. Or he had like I think they give you like satchels. So I think his like satchel like covered. I can't remember. I just remember that he made her a bathing suit, and it was so that she didn't have to be all exposed. And
how very kind. Well, some people
walking around al dente.
What was that?
I said, homeboy walking around al dente. Good for him.
Yeah. So I feel like probably the most well-known part of this episode, and they probably because the editors put it in like 5 of the coming up segments, is Janelle, what do I just put the bill on the counter? How do you want to work this?
This is like 18-year-old me paying my first credit card bill. So like what do I do, Mom? Do I slide this over to you?
Here you go, daddy.
That shit.
Yeah, Dad, they want me to pay this? And I only spent $300. Why is this like 14% higher?
Oh man, I felt like angry on behalf of Janelle. Like I felt like I was Janelle and I wanted to be like, pay it yourself.
Right.
You had a job. You know how this works.
Well, the thing that killed me was this. I mean, I can see a world where it happens. You know, people get wrapped up in the same situations. However, if you were married to a guy you said was a tyrant, and he put you in a situation where he financially ruined you, and you had to go out and make your way, those type of people very rarely will trust another person and just say, you know what, I'm gonna move to a different part of the state or whatever, and I'm gonna live in their house. I'm gonna quit my job. I'm not gonna have any source of income for myself. And I'm gonna not only trust them to take care of me, but I'm gonna trust them to take care of my kids that aren't his when he has 13 other children to worry about. Most people wouldn't even think about doing that. So that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And then the whole, oh, I just dropped it off on the counter. It looked like, because Janelle looked like she was hot, and Christine, she looked a little hot too. Because that was hella disrespectful. Like, because I'm not even gonna worry about paying the bill. I'm just gonna drop it off for Cody to pay. You know what I mean?
That's a really excellent point, actually, James, that I actually know people who, with their second marriages, they opt to, obviously people can structure their finances and their relationships the way they want. But I know several people who in their first marriage, things were commingled, and with their second marriage, everything is very financially separate. So that,
right,
to exactly your point, so they don't get burned again if they got burned before, or even to make, if things don't work out, not to say that the other person is going to like screw you over, but just to make that process more simple. People opt. So it does make sense that if Robin has felt like she was financially wronged, especially, that she would not want to put herself in a position of being that vulnerable. I feel like that's such an excellent point.
Yep.
Right. And especially with somebody who has 3 other women that he's dealing with, that he's responsible to. Because it's not just like you're in a relationship with just Cody and you're depending on just Cody, but you're also depending on Janelle, who could stop liking you, Christine, who could stop liking you, and Mary, who likes you for now, but she has the nasty streak in her and she could stop liking you and try to ruin you. So it just, I don't know. I don't think that really made a whole lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Brittany, not Brittany, says,
I like that.
Didn't Robin work on the in the medical field in some capacity? What do you mean you can't find a job? Have either of you ever heard this, that she worked in the medical field?
I thought she was some sort of like administrative assistant or something, but that could just be like what I think she's capable of.
Right. I think she was like
not shade to administrative assistants, because I have been an administrative assistant, but I feel like it could have been at a doctor's office or something.
Right. I thought she was like a nursing. I thought she was a nurse's assistant. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I do think she was somehow tied into the medical field, into Brittany, not Brittany point. Like it's it's not that hard. Like there's certain jobs that you can take that anywhere. That's one of them jobs. People, as long as there's people, you got business. That and morticians. Like people are always going to need hospitals and more. So you're good to go wherever you go.
Yeah, I think that whatever her past job was, I mean, the common belief, it sounds like, amongst all of us is like, we don't really think she was trying that hard to find another job.
Literally, where there's a will, there's a way. There are and this is kind of I did not mean any shade to administrative assistants. I think the biggest mistake somebody could make is thinking that they are above a type of job. So if
Mhm.
there is literally, if it came down to feeding my family, I will go and do just about anything to make $1. You know what I mean? So I will work at McDonald's. I would like to work someplace I didn't come home smelling like the food. So like In-N-Out's probably out for me, but like I will. I worked at Panera in college. That was actually a fantastic job. So it's people thinking like, "Ugh, I have a bachelor's degree. I'm not going to work at like Target. Why not? You know?
Right.
Exactly. Also, were those bagels at Panera? Did those come in frozen or
Oh, there's bakers that come in every night and they bake all the bread and all the pastries. Mhm.
okay? Good to
Wow.
know. Good on
And
you,
at least
Panera.
the Panera that I worked at, they donated all the food that didn't sell to shelters. A shelter
The
would come and
pantries
pick
or
the
whatever.
food up at the end of the night. So it was pretty cool.
Oh,
That's
cool. That's
awesome.
Yeah.
cool.
That's really cool.
That's good stuff.
Well, Janelle, basically, to me, this is what I took away from one of her confessionals about the finances. What to me, she basically says in not so many words that without the show money, the dollars and cents were not going to add up. That's how I took away from it. Like they just literally didn't have the money to support Robin.
Right. Right. And that's cold blooded. Like if you think about it, like there was one point, like even in the Becoming Sister Wives book, they talked about how Cody talked about how things were so bad when he before he started dating Robin, he was talking about selling his car because they were struggling. They were hard on the struggle bus. And even with going back to the whole idea of you trusting somebody, things really worked out for the Brown family in this scenario because they had 18 going on 19 seasons of this show. And this was the second season of that show. And there was no guarantee that that show was going to keep going and rock as hard as it was. So for her, I mean, that's a lot of faith. That's a lot of faith that she put into the whole system and the idea that these people were going to take care of her. If she just, I'm out of a job and I don't care, and I'm just going to sit in the house and wait for things to happen. That's a lot. That's crazy as hell because you're trusting people you really shouldn't be trusting.
Yeah,
No
Cody's
shade on the other ladies,
no shade on who?
but on OG3.
Oh,
But
for
she
trusting.
had no
I will
reason to
shade
trust.
them for trusting Cody. He's slimy.
Yeah.
Cody says Robin supposedly went to him and was like, I can't be a burden to your family.
That's another thing I think is BS.
Here's my question. Do you guys think that she was like, I can't be a burden to your family, but where do I put those bills that I need you to pay? Like,
Seems like you can be a burden, Robin.
should I leave it on the counter or should I just drop it in the mailbox? Like, how we working it?
What did you two think of this confessional where Janelle says, in our family, all of the children think their mother is the favorite? Like, do Christine's kids think she's the favorite, the basement wife?
I don't think Christine's kids ever were disillusioned and thought that Christine was the favorite. I think that Christine's kids probably witnessed some pretty gnarly arguments between Janelle and Mary, that's for sure. And I do think probably they witnessed Christine be the peacekeeper and Cody appreciate that. But do I think that they ever witnessed Cody prefer Christine? No.
Yeah, I didn't buy it either.
Yeah.
I actually think that we see in this episode Cody's real affection for Janelle.
Yeah, are you talking about like when they're at the campsite and he's,
Yeah.
Kissing the back of her neck, I think. And
Mhm. I think Cody has I think he always has had a very deep love for Janelle. And I think that the part, personally, this is like my tinfoil hat theory. Most of the kids that are most vocally talking about how they think that Cody is not doing right now are Janelle's kids.
Right.
They're not Christine's kids. Gwen, McKelty, Peyton, they have all gone on and publicly stated how amazing they think their dad is and how much they miss their dad. But it's Christine that is still bearing the brunt of, you turned my children against me. She's the one who started the like network of people talking shit about him. But really, I think it's because he's not willing to completely write Janelle off. He still tries to go and take her on a date in season 18 for her, was it her birthday or something? Whatever.
Yes, I think people gave her a hard time for choosing to spend her birthday with her like kind of separated
A free
husband.
dinner is a free dinner. And Janelle is like, you know what? It's my birthday. Why not?
All these years later, she's still like, I'm taking that free birthday dinner.
Exactly.
Well,
we all go to Starbucks and get our free drink on our
Yeah.
birthday. This was Janelle going to Starbucks. Okay.
right. Well, I mean, you got to take into account too that she's invested so much into the family. Technically, that's a dinner she already paid for, so she just gets some rebate. Under my dinner bag.
True.
I didn't pay for this shit. Like I paid for this 20 years ago, so I'm gonna get my dinner.
Her points.
I'm not missing no meals. Yeah, right. It's like having that full card. I got my punch card. I'm getting my last whatever it is. I don't care. Die be damned. So. And I think that there's also that weird point where the kids, because I think you made an interesting point where you were talking about Cody complaining about Christine turning his kids against him. I don't necessarily think he was talking about her kids. I think he was talking about Janelle's kids because her kids kind of sit in a very unique position because of Janelle's relationship with Cody. 1, 2, and because Janelle had mostly the boys who Cody strongly identified with, I think that her kids have a stronger sense of, I won't say right and wrong, but they just have more of a mile high view of what was going on, and they realized, I think because they're kind of separated and they were getting the attention and they were part of the Star Kids or whatever, that they recognized that Christine wasn't being treated well. And if they side with Christine and say, Dad, you're treating her like crap, then all of a sudden you're against me, you hate me, and she must have turned you against me because I've invested so much time in you guys. Because if you listen to them talk about it, he spent a lot of time over with Janelle's kids, more time with Janelle's kids than he did with Christine's kids. So I think that's the relationships that he was missing.
I always understood it like it was easier for him in Janelle's household because he knew boys. Janelle had all the boys, poor Peyton, and poor all the girls, because
Right.
But he just naturally gravitated, and then at least Hunter was into all the same sports that Cody was into, and there was a lot of easy parenting over there for him to do. Whereas Christine required him to show up to parent, and she would call him out. Like in the wedding dress episode, we see her say, "We know you're capable of being a better guy, so be a better guy."
Yep.
Right.
Kathy in the chat, Kathy Farron agrees. Cody goes where it's easy. He can't be bothered with girls and all their emotions. Oh no, girl emotions.
I have a 1-year-old boy right now, and can we talk about some 1-year-old emotions? Because they are not gender specific. I'm telling you.
Well, as long as he can play wrestling one day, all is forgiven.
You have a tooth coming in, and all hell breaks loose. It does not matter, boy, girl. It doesn't matter.
Well, pain is pain.
Pain is
pain. But I think that with especially when you look at Logan, he was a wrestler. You look at Hunter. Hunter wasn't just involved with the sports that Cody was into, like the football and the wrestling. Hunter was good at it. So when Cody shows up, especially if you're a guy with a fragile male ego, and your son is running the team. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's like the star player. Like, he's the one everybody's talking about is going to the Olympics and going pro. And oh, he's amazing. He's the most athletic child we've ever seen in life. That's my son. And Cody got to be that guy standing in the, that's my son. Look at him run, take the ball back. Or look at him pin the guy and become state champion. I'm going to go down there and congratulate him at the podium because I trained him. And there's also that part where it's easy to join teams or businesses or whatever when the people are winning. If he's winning because he's good at it, then you want to spend more time with him so that you can be a part of his winning. So I can see like when they rolled those mats into Christine's house so that they could practice wrestling. That was around the time that he was getting ready to go to state. Hunter was getting ready to go to state. So Cody had to work with Hunter to make sure that he knew all the tricks of the trade so he could become this fantastic wrestler, which he might have became with or without Cody. I don't know. But he had to be a part of that. So he's going to spend more time with him. And I think that's how they got a lion's share of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Another somewhat, I don't know that it's iconic, but it will be talked about a lot going forward. Thing that is revealed in this episode is around when they're doing the scene with the like, oh, Janelle's learning how to hug and kiss Cody and show affection. They eventually reveal, and they kind of just like throw it out there and then like dash away. Apparently Mary was like dominating Cody in the early days, just putting her paws all over him, just Garrick Merrifielding Cody. And Janelle was just like over to the side, just like, oh, Mary, may I? Okay. Or, sorry, I'll leave you guys alone. Like,
and that just goes to show you that, for all of this talk, like Cody loves to quote X amount of like animals in the animal kingdom are non-monogamous and monogamy is not like a natural thing for blah blah blah. He loves to like quote stuff like that. But if we're talking about like human instinct is to like go after what you perceive as a threat, right? And that is exactly what Mary was doing. Mary was all hyped on polygamy until it was actually time to live it. And then she got jealous AF and wanted to shove it in Janelle's face. And that's exactly what she did.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the craziest part about it, because even as we'll talk about like with Seeking Sister Wives, there's one of my mainstay things about like even criticizing the polygamy propaganda program, which is Sister Wives, is just the idea that most people, and this is no shot at most people, it's just the way we're kind of rigged up. Most people are not equipped to do polygamy. Full stop. Like we can't open up our relationships. We just don't, whether it's having that extra part or missing a couple parts, most people just aren't geared for it. They can talk about it and even try to understand it intellectually. You see, I did the crazy thing. But you try to understand it intellectually, but it's just not in your heart. It's not something that you can practice. In theory, it sounds great. You could have like a best friend and you guys could unite and become like mothers together. And it'd be so great. You could share a husband and you don't have to worry about dealing with him all the time. And that's all fine and good till you see that joker get, good night and get ready to go get huggle buggled up with your friend and start bumping uglies with your best friend. Now all of a sudden it's serious. So I think that's exactly where Mary was. And it's ironic that she grew up in it, didn't like it. Christine grew up in it, didn't like it. Janelle is probably the only one, and I've said this from the beginning, Janelle is the only one of the four wives who could probably do polygamy successful for whatever reason.
Yeah, I agree with that because I think polygamy is just so hard on women. I think if you have polyamory, there's just a lot more chance of success because it's just less culty and less about pressuring and more about, I really am choosing this. This is not, something I'm doing to get my 6th level in heaven or whatever they thought.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, with polyamory, you're also taking a focus off of one person. Whereas polygamy, the focus is on the man. Like I don't care how you try to phrase it or put it together. The focus is generally on the one guy. and your relationships are revolved around him. With polyamory, at least you could have multiple relationships firing at the same time, and your relationship becomes more cyclical and inclusive. So theoretically, it would make more sense that has a stronger survivability.
Thank you for the
Oh,
super
thank you.
Wanderlust. I love this
Wanderlust.
cute picture
Yeah.
with your dog.
Yeah,
What
that's
a
a good looking
cutie.
dog.
Wanderlust says, "Love you guys. We love
We
you
love you
too."
too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I also noticed this comment since we were talking about Mary and how you know it's been revealed that Mary actually was immediately not okay with polygamy. Kate the Great says, even though she really wanted polygamy, Mary strikes me as the last person who would thrive in it. She has major control issues. I wouldn't be surprised if she had OCD.
Diagnosed OCD at 19 years old. Can confirm. I see a lot of I obviously am not capable of diagnosing anyone, but I can see a lot of those traits in Mary. Mary
Mhm.
doesn't like people to come in and touch her toys, like, and that is what polygamy is. You got to be cool with all of that,
And that's kind of the thing. If you think about it, how crazy is it that you're like, I'm all about polygamy. We're gonna share a husband, but you can't even have somebody coming and cooking in your kitchen. But that person's gonna be cooking in your kitchen, Zach.
That is the wildest thing to me is that, and we never saw this, but the whole, like, we know that sharing a kitchen was this big dark cloud that, like,
Mhm.
we must never speak of sharing a kitchen again. That's how dark things got for these three.
Right.
That it wasn't you're sleeping with my husband that did it. It was you're cooking in my kitchen that did it.
Right. Well, you know what though? In fairness, maybe that was kind of like the that was the euphemism. Like, I'm tired of you knocking around my pans.
Could
Send them
be.
back all dented up.
Could
You know.
It's really about using your pots and pans.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, she did famously make the turkey Thanksgiving metaphor.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But it was like
I don't like it sweet
when
and
I was in
spicy.
college and I had roommates, we all had like our own milks, right? Like, so it's like I just am imagining like opening up their refrigerator and like Christine has her milk, Janelle has her milk, Mary has her milk, Robin, like we're not allowed to, like, we can share a pee-pee, but we can't share our other resources.
Right.
I just wanted to give a shout out to BCatK in the chat, our mod. Everybody is saying that this is our only mod right now. So thank you so much for holding down everything, BCatK. That's really awesome, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And then,
Lizzie B is in the house too. Lizzie B's.
oh, sorry, and shout out to Lizzie B. Okay, thank you.
Rochelle J. Rochelle J is here.
Oh, and Michelle J. So just strike from the record everything I said 60 seconds ago. But shout out to all the mods. Thank you so much. Thank you, Stephanie in Kentucky. I assume that's what KY stands for.
Could be the
the super. I know. Sarah said could be the jelly.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to see that.
James, come on.
I was trying. I'm already struggling over here. I'm on the struggle
Mister,
bus. Trying to.
What was there something that he made for his own banana hammock? You didn't think you weren't going to go to the jelly?
That's what I mean. Like,
it's not the chat that needs to be moderated. It's the three of us, right?
that's what I'm saying. Like,
Indeed. Okay. Was there anything I missed from the episode that you all wanted to go over, Sarah?
The famous cereal is a snack, not a meal. When Robin tells, I think it's Isabel, they're all at Robin's, Robin being the mom, and the kids are eating cereal, and she goes, Isabel, cereal's a snack, not a meal.
MILL.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that I know for a lot of people, that really kind of tweaked them a bit because so many folks look at it like because in my house when I was growing up and the way I do my household, Lizzie B in the house, but the way I do my household, you can take whatever you want. The food is there for you to eat, but just eat all you take. So like if you had Isabel loading up bowls, like she went and got a mixing bowl and she dumped a whole box of cereal in it and poured half a gallon of milk in that bad boy, took 3 bites and then put the milk in the sink, the bowl in the sink, pour it in the trash. Then you say, like, whoa, 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 you need to relax. Take it easy. We got like food storage. We're not doing well financially. Then you make those arguments. But if these kids are hungry, let them eat. Especially, the only way I would stop a child from eating like a snack like that is if they aren't doing their dinner. Like if you're not eating your dinner, then you might slow them down. But if they're housing the snack and then they go back and they getting 3-4 servings of the dinner, then what am I telling them? They growing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things with kids. Kids gonna eat you out of house and home, Jack. So get ready for it.
Yep.
Was there anything else besides the first sign of Robin restricting food with the kids?
Yeah. Nope, that was it.
All right. Okay. James has temporarily muted himself, but until he gets back, I think since that's it for Sister Wives, I think we are good to move on to the season 5 finale of Seeking Sister Wife.
There was a whole thread in my Facebook group today about like how gross Seeking Sister Wife is, like as a concept in practice. Someone started it off like, I really tried to get into Seeking Sister Wife, but I just couldn't do it. And then all these people chimed in like, oh my God, it's like depravity personified. And it was so funny to me because I love it so much.
I know. Melly FZ finale time.
It's certainly not for everyone, but it is for me.
Yes. Thank
you,
you, Melly,
Melly.
for the super.
Oh,
We are all hyped to
goodness.
talk about this finale. Yeah, I was gonna say I watched season 1 of MILF Manor, so my standards have been lowered even more.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, maybe Seeking Sister Wife isn't that bad. They're not trying to marry their own sons.
Yeah. Like the dating pool isn't their sister wives' kids. So that's good, right?
Oh, so sad how low our standards have fallen. Well, what did you think of the finale, Sarah? Like, did you think it was a good finale?
Okay. So I thought it was a good finale. The part that like wowed me the most was finding out, and the way I watched it was on Max. So the ending credits where it was giving like updates on everyone was like super teeny tiny, and like Max was trying to get me to watch Dune 2 next, and I'm trying to read like what everyone's up to. But Garrick baptized a new Brazilian woman. I was like, oh, this guy has a fetish, and that's all. James!
Yeah. Perfect timing, James. You're coming in on hell, he can't hear us. Can you hear us now, James?
Yes.
You're coming in on this guy has a fetish. Garrick, of course.
Yeah. The Garrick, jackass Garrick. The thing I would say about Garrick, and I've thought about this, I think genuinely Garrick and Danielle are actually involved with I think they're violating the Mann Act. At this point, like I think they're sex trafficking. Like, because the way they're doing things, they're being dishonest about what it is they're doing. Because even if we take the show at surface value, he applied for a K1 visa, petitioned for a K1 visa for Roberta. It's my understanding you only get 2 applications. According to him, he put in a second application for Natalia. That's his second application. That's burned out, it's done. But then he goes down and he meets this supposed new girl, and he's trying to bring her up from Brazil, but you can't. And even if you could bring her up, what are you bringing her up for? And it's for like a nefarious, you know, sex purposes. So I think that, yeah, I think they bringing the law heavy, you know,
I'll
and they're going to have to lie.
further
And
games, and I think we've seen him. I forget what that lady was that they met in Los Angeles.
Leah, I think.
Leah, yeah.
Mhm.
These American women are not attractive to Garrick because they lack the perceived power imbalance. He thinks that he is in a better financial position. He needs a woman that he perceives as being beneath him, and a language barrier is key to that.
Mhm.
It's real gross.
Right, right. And I think that was part of the problem that he had with Miriam was that
Mhm.
she actually came in, she could speak the language, they could communicate with one another.
Mhm.
Even Natalia, what she said when they broke up, he had deceived her because he had told her that he was no longer going to do the online dating. He was no longer going to seek another sister wife until she got to America. Then all of a sudden, after, like I said, I mean, the weird thing is, and I don't want to be gross about it, but once he lays down with them and he's with them at a certain rate of frequency, then all of a sudden they're not as important to him. And you can see that because they're originally, before when he went down and he proposed to Natalia, he
Mhm.
slept with her, and then they stayed down there, I think, for another week. They came home, and while they were home, he would sit there and argue with Danielle. Well, they're not calling me back. She ain't calling me back. Well, I don't understand why she. All that whispering was out the window that he
Yeah.
usually do, soft talking. That shit was out the window. He hollering at her, screaming at her. You know, it is what it is. Then he gets down to Brazil, spends 6 weeks. He's down there talking about marrying her, and it's questionable whether he's going to come back. All of a sudden he comes back home, and now he could care less if Natalia knows that he had a whole nother woman that he was attracted to at the house. He could care less that things aren't working out. He could care less that they not getting married and they had that stumbling block. And then Natalia also mentioned that there was a problem because he wanted her to submit. And I have a issue with that because anytime a guy asks you to submit, leaders don't have to ask you to follow. A
Mhm.
leader never would have to ask you to follow him because you're by the sheer, you know, Riz, he got the Riz, you're going to follow him because of who he is. And
Mhm.
he won't have to say, "Will you guys follow my lead?" Until you get behind him because you believe in him. And I think that that's where his trouble with Natalia is that he's not a leader at all. But he
Mhm.
requires, like you said, he uses that money. He uses the promise of citizenship to the United States, bringing her up from the United States, and he's going to take care of them. And that's how he's trying to manipulate.
Mhm. It's and I don't even know because it wasn't really clear. It seemed like Roberta didn't really want to come to the United States, and that ended up being like an issue. So I don't
Right.
know where Natalia was at, like if she does or she doesn't really want to come to the United States, but it almost seemed like okay, like support me down here if you want to come have bang trips. I don't
Right. Right. Well,
and
because
you
I
know
think
what? Like, I was cool with them doing that. Like, because
like,
if he's dumb enough to like be not that also I'm like jumping over my words, but like not that all sex tourism is inherently bad, but Garrick is for sure at least a sex tourist. And
right.
if you're gonna do that, at least ladies get your money.
Right. We'll get paid up front. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Thank you, Michelle Cruz, for the super
yeah,
chat.
thank you. But I would say like with Roberta, I think it started out that he was using her to try to I think she was originally interested in coming up to the United States, but it started to become more suspect because Danielle threw salt in the game because that's when that's when Danielle had encouraged him to date the girl Leah, the black girl Leah from California, and they went out to California to meet up with her. Danielle did that because I think she wanted to stymie the relationship between Roberta and Garrett, and she did it again with Miriam because she went out. Danielle went out and found Miriam and invited her to come to the house. So I think that was Danielle's way of stopping it and stalling them out. But at the same time, I think that for Roberta, she's looking at it like, kind of what I was saying about Robin. I'm going to be vulnerable. If I come to the United States and I'm living in this man's house and I'm living under a green card visa and he can control where I go, what I do, how I do it. I don't speak the language. I don't have a driver's license. I don't have anything. I don't have contacts. So I'm isolated and I have to do whatever this man wants. And he's getting super controlling because I think that's part of it too. Garrick is one of them wolves in sheep's clothing.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of them wolves in sheep's clothing because he do that soft talking bullshit. I'm part of my friends, but he does the crying and I'm so sensitive and all that stuff. But this dude, I can see in him that he gets super controlling with these women. He gets super controlling, he gets super manipulative with them. And I think that when these women decide they want to stay down in Brazil, the reason why they want to stay down there is because I don't think that they believe that they can handle him full time up here, especially when he has that much control and power over.
Mm-hmm.
James, he's just crying all the time because he just wants to show the softer side of gang members. Like gang members can cry too.
Always thugging.
ATK, what's up, polygamist?
Yeah. Always thugging crew. And
Call
we
my
didn't
flip
use the C,
phone.
we used the K. That made it official. Like, are you serious?
I'm about to change our group text, you guys, from OG3 to always thugging crew. Okay.
Right? Always thugging crew.
Please
This guy,
do.
man. And that bullshit. Like, I don't know. This dude's gonna make me go up. Like, but that I'm really trying to hold it back. But this dude is.
Let it go, James. Let it go.
I keep trying to put the cap on it. It's like shaking up a bottle of soda. You open it up, you try to close it back up. But this dude with that, there's a couple things that happen with that. One, why are you gonna say to the Middle Eastern girl from Michigan, "Oh, I was in a gang and we used to go out and pay. They used to pay us protection because we were so tough."
What did you need protection from in Buena Vista, Colorado?
Right. You sucker ass dude. And, I used to burn down stores. No, you didn't. And this young lady is probably from freaking 8 Mile. She hanging out with Eminem and shit. Like, there's no way that you're impressing her. Like, she probably knows killers. You sit up, yeah, I was pretty tough.
Her face too when she's telling this is like,
Yeah, she was like, am I supposed to laugh? Is this a joke?
Always thugging crew. Yeah, we used to tell each other because we had decals on our trucks.
Miriam nailed it. She was like, you were just like a privileged upper class white boy whose parents let him run around.
Yeah. You 6 generations deep in a town of like 300 people. Everybody know you, your mama, and your granddaddy. And you out here supposedly committing crimes. Like, come on, man. What are we talking about? Stop it.
someone said ATK sounds like an airport code.
Wouldn't it be amazing if Garrick did like a always thuggin' rap polygamist video? I mean, he's that level of deluded.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that, and then he'll come out and it turn into like a gospel album. Like he'll come out with like the gangster rap album, the first one, and then his sophomore album be like, yeah, I turned it over to God. And then all of a sudden, you know what I mean?
He's like white Kirk Franklin.
Right.
Oh no.
He's like, I want to come in your ears. You know what I mean? Like, this fucking thing. I don't know. Pardon my French.
What are your predictions for what is going to happen with the Merrifields, with this new Brazilian, another young woman?
Look, I'm here to watch whatever. Okay, like I am not above it. I am right beside it. Okay. So if they want to sign up for another show or another season with yet another Brazilian, and then that Brazilian won't be able to come, and then Danielle will get someone local to ruin everything and like rinse and repeat. I'm here for it.
You know, I gotta tell y'all, like I thought about it, and especially always Thug and Crew, since we're bringing like a criminality in the underworld. Like when rubber meets road, you're going like part of Derek's attraction and part of the thing that makes him attractive to some of these folks, these people down in Brazil and these other countries, is the fact that he's doing well financially and he can go down and he can influence them. One of the dangerous things about cheating with people, when you're cheating with people, is that you're not, people don't, women, or, speaking from a guy's perspective, men who, when they go out and cheat with women, your wife doesn't get upset just because you're out cheating. They get upset because they see their life ending, the life that they've grown accustomed to, they built up for themselves, and that they want to move into the future with. They see that ending. When you go down to these countries and you start playing around with these women and you start putting in their heart that you're going to bring them to America and their life is going to be better, and you down there playing around, bro, you are putting yourself and your family in tremendous danger, because there's nothing more dangerous than somebody who is desperate and has nothing else to lose. They feel like they have nothing to lose. So these like this tryst that he's doing is cute for TV, but the truth of the matter is that he's playing a very, very, very dangerous game down there playing, especially in some of these South American countries where you're deflowering these women and then you banging them out and you going back to their dad talking about I'm married to her and I'm gonna bring her up to the States, and then your wife come down there and play some bullshit game where she calling the embassy talking about, oh no, we together, we married, we about to have a baby. Don't bring her, give her the papers, don't let her get married. And then he gonna show up and want to cry, or he gonna be crying in a field somewhere with this dude standing over top of him. Trust and believe. Like, this is crazy dangerous. This is crazy dangerous.
James, you think Garrick's gonna go after like Thais or something? I'm picturing Thais' dad.
I don't think Garrick have enough money to get Thais.
I want Garrick because Larissa is single and she's in the United States. If he wants Brazilian but local, like doesn't have to deal with immigration and all that red tape, I would. Oh my gosh, could you imagine Larissa and Garrick? It would be.
What show is Larissa on?
She was
90
on 90 Day Fiance back in the day. Colt, Mother Debbie, like this is some like throwback. Mother Debbie is a little more recent because she was on Single Life, but Colt and Larissa are from like, I don't know, second or third season of 90 Day Fiance.
Yeah. Well, it's like, no, you're right. They're legit 90 Day Fiance too. They're main 90 Day Fiance.
Yeah.
But they're on a couple like after, like Happily Ever Afters and all that. Single, I think, not Single Life. Colt maybe I think made one Single Life.
I think Colt was not. Colt, and then he ended up with this girl Vanessa. They were on some Happily Ever After seasons, but
Wow.
yeah, they're like one of these mainstays of the franchise. They've been on like Pillow Talk and like all this stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
Check out those seasons. Thank you, Soundbite Bio, for the super.
Hey.
And also thank you, Teresa Skinner. Very generous of you. Shout out Teresa, always showing up. Both Soundbite and Teresa, very supportive, showing up every week. A lot of people in the chat, I'm seeing you every week, and you just make it so fun.
Yeah.
And you're like, we can't always talk about your comments, but like a lot of you are very funny. I'm like often over here like, yeah. Okay. Should we? should we talk about the Davises? It's hard to kind of discuss them because of the scandal now.
Yeah, I want like justice. I mean, there's no justice, but own up to it. I've seen April is out here like defending their storyline. Girl, just own up to it. You guys lied to us.
Yeah. Well, I think they're trying to save their spots on the show because they're afraid they're gonna get fired. Like they should be. They really like honestly. I think that in order for Seeking Sister Wives isn't a mainstay show like 90 Day Fiance or even Sister Wives.
Mhm.
It's kind of that one off show like that MILF Manna or the Mama's Boy. Want me, you, and my ex like that. Those type of shows aren't real. They're still blossoming shows or burgeoning shows, and this type of scandal this early in that type of show could derail the whole series. So they really should consider getting rid of the family because I can't trust anything they say. Because even then, once you find out the Jasmine storyline is not true, some folks looked into it and they realized that I think Jen and April they applied for a marriage license, but I don't think they officially got married. So
Oh.
like the whole storyline there is kind of sketchy. So
So let me just
that's
make sure everybody watching, if because if only people who are online will know about this, like on Reddit or something.
Mhm.
I think we briefly touched on it last week, but if you weren't here last week, the Davises are in this scandal because all these pictures are coming out where they already knew Jasmine in 2021, and we're supposed to believe this footage, like post, what is their cute little girl's name?
Vera.
Post Vera is when they meet Jasmine. So
Mhm.
there are clearly like some funnies going on. James has added new tea. James, now somebody did some digging and April and Jen aren't married.
yeah, they said they couldn't find the records because all those records are public
Public.
records. Nobody can find the records for them getting married, actually being married. So they applied for the license, and anybody who's been married knows that in order for you to get married, you have to ask for permission. Yay!
Mhm.
Ironically, when you get divorced, you're asking for permission. That's what a divorce decree is. You're asking
Mhm.
permission to leave your spouse. But they asked for permission. They got the license to get married, but they never went down and put in the paperwork. So as far as I can tell, they're not even really married. And at
Wow.
this point, it makes sense because to be honest with you, if they weren't married, it would make more sense to me, and it would actually make their relationship seem a little more stable to me, as opposed to you forcing people to marry people that they aren't necessarily dating, so that Nick can have his carnal appetite filled. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so he has a bang on. You go and get married to somebody. Come on now, that's ridiculous.
Sarah, do you think like anything we watched this season was real with the Davises? Was it all reenactments? Does that make it real if it was a reenactment of something that already happened?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, it I listened to this one podcast, the Reality Cray Cray podcast, and Kim, she's one of the people on the show. She has decided to not think about these shows too hard because some of the storylines on these shows, Love After Lockup and 90 Day Fiancé, it can get pretty dark if you and with Sister Wives too. Like if you get too deep, it can get real dark. And
Right.
so it's like, do I want to just keep it surface level with the Davises and just like, accept what? Because if I am entertained as hell watching this, but yeah,
Mhm.
it's like,
I think it's what Emily in the chat says. It can be a reenactment, but hide it better.
yeah,
Like
agree.
we know that there's going to be a level of
Facebooks.
yeah.
That's
I mean,
where all this came from.
how low budget is this show? They don't have anybody who's like making sure.
If they couldn't
Right.
find Sperm Guy over on Love in Paris, oh my God. Like, truly, probably the most horrific casting I've ever seen them do.
Well, do you
Right.
two want to
Right.
see more of the Davises after these scandals have come out?
But here's the thing. See, I think that they had to do this because I think it's genuinely hard to polygamy date. And that's what we're
Right.
seeing. Like the Ryans, like they had this girl who wouldn't even appear on camera. And Ashley and with the Sherwoods, like that was kind of a miss. The Salahuddins, like that was kind of they didn't actually. Oh, they did meet that one girl at the winery, but like
Right.
that stood out. Like so, it's actually an incredibly difficult show. I can imagine to cast because who wants to like go on dates with these people?
Right. Right. Well, I mean that and the fact that like they aren't any of them like really genuinely like even from the Merrifields, the Davises, none of them are really suited, in my opinion, to be in polygamous relationships. Like that, everything seems to be like even with the whole hot tub stuff and all that. Like everything just seems geared towards the pleasure part of the physical pleasure part of relationships, but it has very little to do with building families, securing like this larger community, et cetera, et cetera. Now, as far as watching the shows, I think that there's things that we could talk about or topics that are brought up on the show that we could definitely discuss. Like, for instance, the idea of Jasmine's situation with the Davises, the idea of the long weekend. Like, don't go on damn long weekends if you're not in a position where you want to experience that with somebody. Don't go on long ass dates where you are trapped in a date with somebody you're not familiar with. Don't go on like dates where you're like confined with each other for at least 6 to 8 hours where you can't leave if shit start going left. Like, you know what I mean? Like, those are conversations that should be had. And definitely don't go over somebody's house like the Davises. You show up to their house, they expect to get it. That's what that was. Like, I don't understand what we talking about. I don't know why we not naked in the hot tub. Like, that's what the conversation was. What? They don't asking color questions in the hot tub. We should be butt naked. Why are we not naked now? You know. So those are conversations. Like I said, there's stuff to talk about. It's just the Davises are just, I don't know. They kind of played out.
Okay, so I take it then that Sarah wants more Davises, but do a better job hiding your shenanigans.
Yeah.
James is like played out with the Davises.
Well, I will say I think that they'll have to, if they can find somebody to replace them, storyline to replace them, they should replace them because they hurt the series. They hurt the
Yeah.
they hurt the
Credibility.
franchise.
Yeah, we
Like this-
want to. Sorry, go ahead, James.
No. Well, I mean, just to close it out, but at the same time, like Sarah said, I think that they're having a casting problem. So, beggars can't be choosers.
Even
Yeah.
on seeking brother husband, like the main couple, I forget, they were like well-known polyamorous like dating coaches. Like she's on there seeking a brother husband, and they portrayed it like she has her two husbands, but they don't have other wives, but her her husband number one had another wife like for years, and that there's a show called like Extreme Sex. They were on that show like promoting like polyamory. So I can only imagine like these shows in general are just difficult to cast. So you kind of spin the narrative, I guess.
Yep. No, you're totally right. That's why we have the Sherwoods, who's just, it's really just, it's not a sister wife. It's a
Yeah.
girlfriend. They're looking for a girlfriend who will exclusively be with Ashley.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And I think that those, because even with some of those relationships, I think they could be interesting to explore. But I think that if you're going to do it, like part of the reason why they have such difficulty, at least in my opinion, part of the reason why you have such difficulty is because you're not honest about what it is you want from the start. Like even with the was it the Ryan? I think it is the Ryans. They kind of obfuscate a little bit and they pretend like it's one thing, and then when the women show up, the young lady they're saying now, Layla or whatever, when she shows up, all of a sudden it's a different thing. Like there are people who are into this stuff. You just have to be honest enough to tell them, like, this is what I want. I want, in Ashley's case with Shane, you have to say, like, I'm looking for a girlfriend for me. I'm not looking for somebody that's going to come in and try to mess with my husband or try to, go down the hallway, get a little bit of dirty hot dog. I need somebody who just into this, and that's it. As the one woman they had, Sarah, she clearly is into men, and that's what she's attracted to as well. So she doesn't necessarily want to limit herself. And so, and what could have broke that relationship up as well was the limitations that they were trying to put on her. Like, you're just going to mess around with me, and I'm going to be going down and get my husband, and I'll come back and deal with you, Sarah. And Sarah was like, look, if I can't get both of you, then I don't want either.
Speaking of the Sherwoods, what did you all think of their parting little blurb about how they it was like really kind of hilarious. It was like they haven't spoken to Sarah and they've been catfished and stood up.
Yes.
I was like, I'm evil for laughing.
And that's what happens. That could you imagine if the Davises didn't truck out Jasmine? It would probably have been the Davises were stood up and catfish. Matter of fact, speaking of like Reddit revelations, years ago, maybe like a year or so ago, DMs that Danielle had sent people on Instagram, Danielle Merrifield had sent people on Instagram, started surfacing like, hey, look at Danielle Merrifield from Seeking Sister Wife messaged me. I think that's how she met Miriam, or she said Miriam messaged her or something. That's how she's like procuring these women for Garrick.
Yeah, they're catfishing us. They're like they're actually just out fighting people on Instagram who want to be on TV, and like it's a little bit of a sham. But
I think the most shocking part of all of this was finding out that the Ryans are still talking to Yari.
Yes, I wanted to ask you too. Yari, the last time we hear Yari talk on a date with Justin, Yari's like, I only want you. I'm not interested in sharing. And then in the blurb, they're like, Yari, Becky, and Justin hanging out at the beach.
So like this isn't talked about on the show, but Justin has run for like governor of Texas. And she is wearing one of his like campaign shirts in one of the pictures.
Surely this cannot help his campaign. I grew up one state over from Texas, and I know what most people would think of polygamous.
Yes, he's running as like a libertarian type, conservative libertarian type, and yeah, it's certainly with that kind of crowd, I don't think it's gonna go over well.
No,
the funky sex stuff doesn't usually go over real
well. No amount of them talking about God will make up for the footage on this show.
Missionary only over there.
It is what only?
Missionary only.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Look me in the eyes. But I wonder if this is something he talked over with his political planner, like the guy who runs his campaign manager. Like, yeah, man, I think it'll be great for my image if I go on the show and explain to everybody so they can see me in my natural element. No, bro, that's a mistake.
His real name. That's the other thing. No alias is allowed. Like, say it with your whole chest. You want to come out here and let your freak flag fly? Tell me your name.
Right, yeah, let us Google you.
Yes, I need to be able to go on Truth Find. No, I'm kidding. But like, yeah, I need to be able to be somewhat real with me.
But why do you two think Yari is still doing this for the show? I mean, surely she's not making that much money.
And this is my question about Danielle Davis. Where are these friends and family members that are like April's brother or Naeem's mom that are saying like, this is fucked up. Like, where are these
Mm.
family members saying? Because Yari clearly thought she was going to be dating an almost divorced guy when she was going on dates with Justin.
That's what they're saying in the chat, that Yari's doing it to soundbite bio. Yari is out to steal Justin away. She's playing the long game. Makes sense.
Yeah. And but it's like who's telling Yari like, no, this is like polygamy.
Right.
Because
Google!
the
Go.
Ryans aren't telling her that.
Right. Well, I do think like with some of these ladies when they go on these shows, like some of the ladies, some of the guys aren't above it either. When they go on these shows, people will look for you when you present on the show. Like what's the Miriam?
Mhm.
I know that her inbox is full of people. Hey, I saw you on the show. I'm gonna treat you better than Garrett treated you. Blah blah blah. You know, maybe Danielle might even got some of those messages from some errant guys who are, Garrett just treat you like crap, girl. You need to get with a real man. Blah blah blah. So you do get a lot of attention. So if you're a single woman, even that one girl, what's her name, Sarah, Shane and Ashley's girlfriend. She, I think, will get a lot of information. Like she'll get a lot of interest from people because of the way she handled her business on the show. Like I think that a lot of guys be like, okay, that's somebody who is straight up with what she wants. She's okay with opening the relationship up, and she seems like she has her emotions and everything in check, and she's very logical with how she approaches things, and she's crazy honest. So that's a go. So I think that it's a way for you to advertise the goods in a way that can get you out there. So Yari, I can see her getting a lot of attention as well from people who are interested. Like if you're looking for a man, then I might be a guy that is more interested in a one-on-one relationship as opposed to that foolishness you're involved with.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But she's like going on dates with him that aren't being filmed. Like that was like their own video they sent TLC.
yeah.
That was
That's a
wild. I was
downside.
like, what?
Same. Why doesn't
Sometimes
this
you gotta
show?
drink the dirty water.
What, James?
I said sometimes you got to drink the dirty water to get to the clean. Like she might just be slugging it out so she can stay on the show.
You know what? If she is, I'm okay with it.
And then
it's
what does
interesting.
that
Right.
tell you about Becky when like the understanding, the intention, what Yari would prefer is for you not to be in the picture. Like she's saying the Robin Brown quiet part out loud, right? Like,
Right.
yeah.
No, you're right. That is wild. Because in the last scene, Becky is trying to be all like Becky with the tooth, like nobody's gonna steal my man. But then she
Yeah.
just keeps going out with Yari.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I give her credit though. I mean, it must be refreshing to put those blinders on and pretend like it didn't really happen. Because I give Yari credit because she told everybody straight up, like, look, I want you for myself. I'm here to take your man. She basically telling him is basically telling his wife, and if they want to keep playing and dipping in that pond, then you kind of get what you get. Don't get upset. It's not like she's hiding that she's trying to get him. So, you can't be mad at her for doing the thing. Like, that's the game. Like, she's putting it out there telling you, like, I'm here for you, dude. Okay, well, I mean, we can go out on Saturday. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
James, I dare say this would be like the rare instance where the majority of the public would be like rooting for the home wrecker to wreck the home.
Right. Well, that's because Becky is crazy pants. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to root for crazy pants.
Given the way she grew up, I mean,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
think the way like the AUB was messed up. This Tony Alamo guy, holy cow.
You know what? There's a weird part though, because this is where I even struggle a little bit with Daya. Well, I don't struggle; it's not that hard. But there's a point where you stop being a victim and you start being a perpetrator. And I think that with Becky, she stopped being a victim a while ago. And Danielle, because she's pulling people into these relationships with Garrett, and she's sacrificing these women for her man, because it make to feed his appetites. You stop being a victim, so therefore you no longer deserve my pity or consideration when it comes to the hell you're wrought on these other women. Like, yeah, I don't feel bad for Danielle when she's in this situation. And I think it's also ironic as much as they to God in the Lord when they talk about like karma's a bitch because she went out and tried to get sneaky and had the Danielle insurance plan by having that little baby. And what did she have? She had a little girl. So you telling me that you're gonna be okay with somebody doing your little girl like Garrick is doing these women? Welcome to the ride, baby. Welcome to the ride.
Welcome to the ride.
You
Why doesn't the ride include a tell-all?
Well,
We had a tell-all like up until we had maybe not a season 1 tell-all, but there was for sure a season 2 tell-all, maybe a season 3 tell-all. I'm not sure.
yeah.
But yeah, then they stopped doing tell-alls. This show needs a tell-all.
Yeah, they stopped doing them around the time of COVID. I think it's a money thing, to be honest with you, because even their seasons are shorter. Like their seasons are pretty short for income consideration to other seasons.
Yeah, but to me,
pretty
they
short.
also make money with ads if they have, a couple more episodes, but maybe it's expensive. Maybe they're literally so cheap they won't even spring for Spirit Airline flights somewhere to get them all on a soundstage. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Nobody gets overtime. No overtime for you.
Any other thoughts about the finale or anything that went down with any of the couples or just anything from the whole season? Who are you most interested to see next year?
Merrifield's I'd watch again. I'd watch the Davises again. I feel like
You know
I
what?
don't need the Salahuddins. There's too much. Like I feel like they're just trying to antagonize Naeem's mom, and
Right.
I feel like they are happy with each other, and if they want to like do their own thing, do their own thing. I would watch. You know what? Like I honestly don't think that there was any duds this season,
No.
entertainment wise.
Well, who would I would watch? I think I'll watch all of them, with the exception of who would I not watch? Well, the Salahuddins. Salahuddins, I don't think I'd watch again because they were just boring. Because they kept having the what if questions like, what if we dated somebody? What would you think? And the mom was like, I wouldn't come around the house. Like, then you're fine because they have 0 people that they're going to be dating. So.
You know what it is too with
would-
them? I know that they're like cousins and that's like a whole thing, but like they have like the most solid marriage, I feel like.
Right.
And so when you're that solid, it's less fun to watch.
Right.
It's like a testament, like your relationship is too good for TV.
Right. And you know what? The weird part is, I think that they have a more solid marriage. And at the same time, don't add people to your marriage. If there's nothing wrong with your marriage and your relationship is going good, why are you messing your relationship up?
Exactly.
Bringing extra folks in.
Yeah.
You have just the right amount of people at the kitchen table, and you want to start adding chairs. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But how about this? The one question: if you could interview anybody on your channel, who would you interview?
From the show?
Yeah.
Danielle Merrifield.
Danielle would be more fun. Yeah, for sure. Garrick would just put on like a front, like,
Yeah.
I'm Garrick, whatever. And he would just be proud. Danielle can't help herself. Danielle loves the camera too much. And she knows putting that fake stuff on isn't what the people want. She would like give us some fun answers.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Well, you know what? The only thing I don't like about Danielle is that she does she cries because Garrick meets these women and he's spending time with these women and he's falling in love with them. And she's jealous of them. And then she sets it up so the women leave. And then when the women leave, she sits around and cries that the women are gone. Like, it's just a weird, like, cycle of life. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Circle of Life is jacked up on that. Oh, Natalia, I wanted to be my sister and trust me, even though I went down and ruined her wedding day. And you can't tell me she didn't call up that damn embassy and was like, yeah, we're still married. Don't let her get married.
Mhm.
You know.
I can't remember like one moment from this season where Danielle was like positive on Natalia.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Because she was trying to stall her the whole time.
Break down like she was my sister about Natalia. Like she
Oh,
did
she
with
was about 3 seconds off of doing that, though. I think she didn't. The only reason why I don't think, if she would have got more of a positive response from the first time she did it, that first season with Roberta, oh, that's my sister, we're about the princess. If people would have been like, oh my gosh, I was so moved when she was doing that, we would have got round 2.
Mhm.
Like when Natalia left, we would have got round 2 on that. But
The one thing I will say is that the Davises and the Merrifields definitely were the heavy hitters. They carried this season. I feel like everyone else
yeah,
was kind of just like sprinkled in for some extra flavor, but it would be nice to have like at least one other couple or family that was like as messy or entertaining, for lack of a better word,
Mhm.
because like I'm thinking like the Sherwoods, I don't really need to see them again. Becky and Ryan, without knowing their backstory, they were just weird. Like there was like
Right.
really nothing there. So
I don't want him to bring the stalkers back. Please don't.
no, yeah. Well, apparently, I have to imagine Yari's probably given them her address at this point, which is the classic mistake.
Oh no, Yari. Poor Yari. Well, what about
Yeah.
can speaking of bringing couples on, thank you for the super Melly FZ. Melly says, bring back Sidian and Tasha. Can James and Sarah, can you inform those of us? When I decided to cover the show, I only watched the Davises and the Merrifield scene. So I don't know anybody
Okay.
else who's been in the old seasons. Who are Sidian and Tasha?
Sidian and Tasha were, I think, great. They were kind of sidelined by COVID. So they kind of their storyline really petered out because of COVID. But Sidian, I feel like he was like a graphic
Well,
designer or something. He had an ex-wife. Tasha comes in, but before Tasha comes in, he has 3 kids. The first kid and the third kid are with his first wife, and then he had another kid somewhere in between that. We don't really know a whole lot more about that. Tasha comes in, and then the first wife decides she's not down with polygamy, as it's a story as old as time. But Tasha is still down to seek a sister wife for Sidian. The last season they were on, he was dating a woman, I think from the Philippines.
right.
And then we ended there. He's a goofy, they're both goofy, but harmless.
Okay.
Right. Because they had the struggle bush portion. There you go.
Yeah, I
Then,
recognize them just from fast forwarding past their scenes. Yeah.
I believe he has a one child named after a Game of Thrones character, so it's like pretty on brand. Like,
Okay.
right. Well, because I think they had like Sidian had his own company, and Tasha had worked for him at one point, or they worked for each other, or whatever the case may be.
Mm.
But the weird part about it was Tasha actually didn't want to marry Sidian. And so she refused to marry him. He wanted to that's how they were able to go down to the Philippines, and he was going to apply. The last I heard from him was he was applying for the K-1 visa for the woman he had proposed to in the Philippines to bring her up to the United States. So she was actually going to slide into the first wife position, the next woman that he had. So
Thank you. We're about to close things out here, but thank you, Tanya Johnson, for the super. Apparently, Tanya says, unfortunately, Seeking Sister Wife hasn't been aired on TLC Australia recently. Anyone know why?
That's a major bummer.
yeah. Maybe because they had all that craziness going on. They're like, this the boxer. Do you guys get MILF Manna? Like,
Yeah, if you
you
get
get
milk
MILF
manner,
Manna,
but
but
not
you're not
seeking
getting
sister
Secret
wife, there's
Sister
an
Wives.
issue
That's a
there.
problem.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sarah was talking about Survivor earlier. I got into Australian Survivor like right when Paramount Plus put it on for streaming, and then like 7 days later they like ripped it off, and people who like researched it were told it was like a copyright thing. So I
Oh,
think
interesting.
copyright between different countries is kind of complex and complicated.
That's interesting.
But that's a
Mhm.
bummer.
Yeah.
Especially because I feel like the smaller the show is, the harder it is to find on other places.
Right. Like
Right,
there has
right.
to be like that demand. Like I tell my husband all the time because my husband's 6'6", so we have to buy tall shirts for him. And he really likes this brand called Fresh Clean. And it's hard to that he loves their shirts. He likes black V-necks, and they're constantly out of stock in the 2XL and I have to like explain to him like they're meeting their demand. Their demand is not 6'6" people.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Well, either of you, any other thoughts on Seeking Sister Wife and on the season or the finale?
I'm gonna miss this show. There was about, I think, a year in between season 4 and season 5. I hope we don't have to wait that long for another season.
Yeah, is this going to be renewed? Sorry, then I want to hear James your thoughts too. Do you two think this will be renewed?
I would think
Yeah.
so.
I would think so too.
Yeah.
James,
Yeah.
what about
I mean,
you?
like I think that they're ultimately they'll redo the show, but I'm kind of curious if because they kind of blew two big holes in their scheduling, so I'm wondering what they're going to replace it with. Because Seeking Sister Wives just ended. Then was it Love After Lockup that just ended? I think last week, or that'll be ending this week. So it'll be kind of curious to see what they're going to roll out. And they just ended one of the 90-day franchises. So, and they're kind of rounded. I think they're halfway done, like Happily Ever After. So I don't know. Like it might be kind of a sparse summer.
Well, then hopefully that means it'll speed up. They'll get things going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Okay, soundbite bio.
Yeah, thank
What's
you,
that?
Soundbite Bio, for the super. Soundbite Bio says, great show, guys. Yes, this has been really fun today.
Thank you, thank you.
What were you going to say, James?
Well, I was going to say, even with Sister Wives, one of the big complaints I had, towards the end of it, complain. With the way they rolled out the look back and then the talk back, and they did those right after the season ended. I'd always held that they should have held that off, and they could have kept the ball rolling. Like between the three specials that they had, Christine's wedding, look back, talk back, they could have had enough material that they could have rolled right into the next season. And that's barring, the unforeseen tragedy that occurred to the Brown family. That the planning on that is just jacked up. Like I don't know who planned that or why they did it that way, but I anticipated that they would come out with an earlier rollout for season 19. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We've got some things going on in chat. Ryan Round says Unexpected. I'm not familiar with that show. Might replace Seeking Sister Wives.
Unexpected is
Okay.
good. It's a little if you have like moral issues with Seeking Sister Wife, you will certainly take moral issue with Unexpected. It's all about teen pregnancy, and these people are dumb.
That's right. I heard that. Okay, that's where I've been seeing
Dumb.
people on the Teen Mom subs talk about it. Okay.
Yeah, they're dumb, and like I'm as old as like these grandparents on the show, and it's like a
Wow.
whole mind f. Like
Oh, wow.
watch someone your age become a grandparent.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's kind of sad because they had something similar to that on Love After Lockup this season.
Mm.
And it's sad to watch parents having to grandparent or become parents to their grandkids because their kids are just so incompetent or inept.
Yep.
Like having kids young is one thing, but being completely unable to take care of your children is a totally different thing. And I
Yeah.
think that like the unexpected, I think might kind of bring into that realm.
All right. Well, let us be sent off with PJ Sarcasm FF. I think that's for fun if this is our
Yeah,
sarcasm.
sarcasm for fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good night to all. Thank you so much for coming. And we will
All
be
right.
back next Monday. Seeking Sister Wife is over, but we have a lot of sister wives to talk about. So
Right.
we will see you all a week from today. And we will also see you. I know Sarah said she has a video coming out tomorrow.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then James, I know you have your Sunday night lives and you probably have a video coming out soon too.
Yeah, I have one coming out probably tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow,
Yeah.
y'all, make sure you open up YouTube. You'll see something from Sarah and James. I'm trying to get mine out as soon as possible. I don't have a date though, but we will be back here next week. Everybody have a good night.
Bye,
All
guys.
right. Have a good night.
All right.